In the heart of Columbus, Ohio, where the Scioto River cuts through downtown like a silver vein, the September sun cast long shadows across the city's central square. It was 2025, and the air thrummed with the pulse of a peaceful protest, hundreds of voices chanting for racial equality, their signs swaying like a forest of conviction. Among them stood Eleanor Harris, a 52-year-old federal judge of the Sixth Circuit Court, her dark suit blending into the crowd. She wasn't there to make headlines or wield her title. She was there because memories of her youth nights of flashlights in her face, shoves for wearing a hoodie still burned. Today, she stood for the children who deserved better. But in a single, brutal moment, her quiet resolve would collide with a system rotten at its core, exposing truths that Columbus would never forget. The square was alive with purpose. Students in faded backpacks held hand-painted signs reading "Equal Lives Matter." Laborers in worn denim stood shoulder to shoulder, their calloused hands gripping banners. A young mother rocked a sleeping infant near a traffic light, her eyes fierce with hope. Eleanor moved through the crowd, her low heels clicking softly on the stone pavement. Her sharp gaze took in every detail: the sweat on brows, the rhythm of chants, the glint of sunlight off glass skyscrapers. She paused by a sycamore tree, her handbag clutched tightly, her presence understated yet magnetic. Few recognized her, though a gray-haired woman brushed past and whispered, "You came." Eleanor offered a faint smile, her mind drifting to her 20s, when a random check meant a hand on her shoulder and contempt in a stranger's eyes. She was here to stand against that memory, to show up when silence was no longer an option. Tension crept into the air as hooves echoed from the street's end. A mounted police unit approached, their horses' black eyes and twitching manes cutting through the crowd's rhythm. The animals' muscles rippled under polished saddles, their steps deliberate, each hoofbeat a command for silence. Leading the formation was Officer Daniel Carter, 45, broad-shouldered and erect, his face a mask of guarded aggression. His reputation preceded him: no compromise, no questions. 3 prior complaints of excessive force had been buried under internal resolutions, leaving him untouchable. To his peers, he was the one who struck first. To protesters, he was a specter of fear. A young officer beside him muttered, "They're quiet now." Carter squinted at the signs. "Quiet to provoke," he growled, his voice like gravel. His eyes scanned the crowd, landing on Eleanor. She stood still, her posture neither defiant nor afraid, just present. To Carter, a black woman standing unmoved before a horse was an anomaly, a challenge. His lip curled, and he nudged his gray stallion forward. The crowd parted like a receding tide, but Eleanor didn't move. Carter's horse closed the gap, its breath hot against her sleeve. Their eyes locked, hers steady, his narrowed. In that moment, something snapped. Carter yanked the reins, and the horse reared, its front hoof grazing Eleanor's shoulder. She stumbled, her knee slamming into the asphalt, her handbag slipping. A metallic clink rang out as her judicial badge fell, glinting in the sunlight. Federal Judge, Sixth Circuit. Gasps erupted. Nathan Brooks, a freelance photographer with a battered Nikon, zoomed in from the crowd's edge, his lens catching the badge's shine and Eleanor's dust-streaked face. The image was a thunderclap, a revelation that would shake the city's foundations. Eleanor rose slowly, her cheek scraped, her eyes not on Carter but on the badge, half hidden by a vendor's cart. 2 women rushed to her side, one asking, "Are you okay?" Eleanor nodded, her silence deliberate. She knew a judge's badge in a volatile crowd could ignite fury or worse, be trampled. She walked away, her steps measured, her white shirt skewed, but her posture unbroken. Behind her, Nathan's camera kept rolling, his hands trembling as he realized what he'd captured. Within hours, his footage hit the internet, shared 50,000 times. The hashtag Justice for Eleanor trended, alongside mounted brutality. A TikTok video spliced Eleanor in her black judicial robe with her bloodied shirt, captioned, "She stood for us." Who stands for her? Online forums exploded with outrage, some calling Carter a rogue cop, others questioning why a judge was at a protest. The debate was raw, divisive, and split Columbus into camps. At the police station, Carter scoffed at the news in Captain James Larson's office. "A judge?" In that crowd, he said, dusting his sleeves. Larson, his face lined with worry, replied, "Lie low, Dan. This is bigger than you think." Internal records painted a damning picture. Carter's 3 prior excessive force complaints, all swept under, resolved internally. Larson, who'd signed off on 2, felt the weight of his complicity. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit server room, technician Michael Chin, 30, sifted through body cam logs. He found a deleted file 22 minutes of footage from Carter's unit. Restoring it, he saw Eleanor standing motionless before the horse charged. Michael, stirred by a lecture Eleanor gave at his college about silent justice, encrypted the file and sent it to the Department of Justice. His heart raced. He knew this could cost him his job, but her words echoed, "Silence saves no one." The city fractured. Some defended Carter, citing the chaos of the protests. "She shouldn't have been there," one ex-post read, liked by police union accounts. Others, like young officer Sarah Mitchell, felt the truth's pull. Sarah, 26, had recorded a shaky phone clip showing Carter's deliberate nudge. Her father, a retired investigator, called her that night. "If you can't face yourself after this, your badge means nothing," he said. Sarah hesitated, her loyalty to the force warring with her conscience. At a federal hearing, she stepped forward, her voice clear. She wasn't a threat. He chose to act. Her video, played on a projector, showed Carter's grimace, his boot spurring the horse. The room fell silent, the evidence undeniable. Eleanor, now out of St.'s hospital with a braced knee and a bruised cheek, met her attorney, Laura Bennett, in a quiet office. Laura, a sharp-eyed veteran, laid out a 100-page complaint. "This isn't just about Carter," she said. "It's the system that let him thrive." Eleanor signed, her hand steady despite the painkiller haze. The complaint, filed with the DOJ, demanded a probe into police misconduct and evidence tampering. Its final line, underlined in red, read, "If justice can be erased by a deleted file, every verdict is at risk." Laura's team dug into Carter's past, uncovering 3 lawsuits: a homeless man pushed downstairs, a student's hand broken by a baton, a driver choked during a traffic stop, all dismissed with no discipline. "This isn't isolated," Laura told her team. "It's a pattern." A second video surfaced, filmed from a cafe's second floor. It was crystal clear. Eleanor, hands on her purse, unmoving as Carter's horse charged. Posted anonymously on X, it amassed millions of views, captioned, "She stood still." News anchors, once hedging, now used deceptive and manipulative to describe the police's narrative. A former prosecutor on CNN declared, "This isn't one man's mistake. It's a system shielding violence." Protests swelled, not with shouts, but with quiet resolve. Flowers piled up where Eleanor fell, turning the square into a shrine for justice. A child's drawing, taped to a lamppost, showed a woman rising from the ground, her badge shining. Carter faced a DOJ inquiry in a sterile room. Agent Rachel Ortiz, a no-nonsense investigator, laid out the videos, timestamps, and Michael's restored footage. "Explain why she was a threat," Ortiz demanded. Carter's voice cracked. "I thought she was defiant." But the footage showed no defiance, only a woman standing her ground. Alone that night, Carter replayed the cafe video, Eleanor's eyes haunting him. In a press conference, he stood before cameras, his uniform gone, his voice low. "I was wrong. I let the system's lies guide me. I'm sorry, Judge Harris, and everyone. I failed." He resigned, barred from law enforcement forever. His apology replayed across networks, sparking heated debates. Was it genuine or damage control? The DOJ task force, led by Ortiz, uncovered a web of complicity. Larson, the captain, was suspended for signing off on nothing serious notes despite clear misconduct. Internal emails revealed orders to clear fast, ask later. A retired officer, Thomas Reed, testified about a 2018 incident where Carter assaulted him during training, silenced by threats. Reed, who'd attended Harvard Law with Eleanor, met her privately. "I read your paper on protest rights," he said, smiling faintly. "You were fearless then, too." Eleanor nodded, her eyes unreadable. "I file lawsuits because I was stepped on," she replied. Reed's testimony, detailing Carter's unchecked aggression, tipped the scales. Eleanor returned to her bench, her black robe a quiet armor. Her first case involved a black security guard fired for cultural misalignment. Her question, "Does your dignity need justification?" silenced the courtroom. The plaintiff's eyes glistened, his hands clasped. Her rulings, precise and fair, set new standards, studied by law schools from Yale to Howard. She published a letter in the Columbus Dispatch. "This isn't my victory. It's a wound exposed. Dignity must be normal, not luck." I judge because no one should bow while wrongdoers stand. The letter, printed without fanfare, was clipped and shared, its words quoted in sermons and classrooms. Readers argued, was dignity a right or a privilege earned? The DOJ banned mounted police in protests nationwide, a landmark reform tied to Eleanor's case. Carter, in a cramped apartment, lived with his regret. The TV replayed Eleanor's courthouse return, her white suit gleaming. He wrote an apology letter, never sent, and took a job as a warehouse guard, his days marked by silence. Eleanor, walking the square where she fell, paused at the exact spot. No plaque marked it, but the air felt lighter, cleansed by truth. A girl, walked to school by her mother, glanced at Eleanor, her gaze curious. Eleanor smiled, nodding as if passing an old lesson. This road isn't easy, but it's worth walking. The city changed. A bus ad read, protect through understanding, not force. Columbus felt less divided, its people moving with cautious hope. Eleanor's legacy wasn't in headlines, but in the quiet shift of a system forced to face its flaws. Michael Chin, now a DOJ consultant, kept her college lecture notes. Sarah Mitchell, promoted for her courage, mentored rookies on accountability. Nathan Brooks won a journalism award, and his photo of the badge is framed in City Hall. Thomas Reed started a legal clinic for whistleblowers, inspired by Eleanor's stand. This story isn't just Eleanor's. It's about Michael, Sarah, Nathan, and Thomas, ordinary people who chose truth over silence. It's about a system cracked open, not by rage but by evidence and resolve. Justice isn't a slogan, it's steady steps, one after another, until the ground shifts. Share your thoughts below. Have you seen injustice buried? Can one person's courage change a system? Do you believe apologies like Carter's matter, or is accountability enough? Voice your stand on violence, bias, and fairness. Let's keep this conversation alive.